Okay, we're talking about the phases of mitosis. So this is learning target number 8. What important events take place in prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase? Now we're going to give you a lot of details here, and then we're going to draw a picture while the other is talking about it. So I'm going to start by just talking about prophase. Now, we want you to know 2 things about prophase. 2, not 1, 2 things. Okay, the 2 main things that happen in prophase is that the chromosomes, they condense. I talked in my class about how they kind of bold. Okay, they get really bold, and you can really see that there's a bold X. You can tell that there's chromosomes there, not just a bunch of stuff. Another thing that you need to know is that membrane, that nuclear membrane, not the cell membrane, the nuclear membrane starts to dissolve. So it's not very evident that there is a nuclear membrane there. It's fuzzy, okay? But you can definitely see a bolded chromosome. They're condensed. That's one thing you need to know. And then the second, the nuclear membrane starts to dissolve a little bit. You can barely see it. So this is what it would look like.
Here's my idea of a drawing for that. So you've got your cell membrane. Inside here's the nucleus. Notice how it's a dotted line. That's because that nuclear membrane is starting to go away. It's starting to dissolve. And the X's, I tried to make my chromosome look very dark and big because they've condensed, and they're very visible now. Little side note, there should be, I think, 92 chromosomes now because everything has duplicated, and they're going to split, and we need to have 46 in each cell. So at this phase, there are 92 chromosomes in a nucleus, and again, it's starting to dissolve. All right, I get to talk about the next one. Metaphase. You need 1 thing that happens during metaphase. All right, and it's pretty simple. M, according to the video, reminds us of middle. During metaphase, the chromosomes, those X's, line up right down the middle of the cell. Let's see what Mr. Scott comes up with for a drawing.
So pretty simple. I've just got your cell membrane and then a bunch of X's in the middle. Now there's other stuff floating around in this cell, but metaphase focuses on the chromosomes and how they're directly in the middle of the cell. A lot of stuff is going to happen next, but this one's pretty simple. Metaphase, middle. Okay? Next one we're going to talk about is anaphase. Okay? Just one thing we want you to know here is that there are spindles that are going to be on one side and the other side of the cell, and they're going to attach. Mr. Heisman told me he talked about Spider-Man, spider webs attaching to each chromosome. I talked about a fishing line attaching to each chromosome, and I think there was a lasso.
Cowboy!
So, cowboys, fishermen, Spider-Man, whatever you want to do to remember these spindles that are going to shoot out from each side and connect to the chromosomes that are in the middle. So a big thing we want you to know is the spindles connecting to the chromosomes.
Here's my drawing. Okay, anaphase, A means away. The chromosomes were lined up right down the middle. Now the lassos or the spider webs or whatever you got, they are ripping them to each side of the cell. That's anaphase, away. All right, and the last phase of mitosis is telophase or telophase. You need to write down at least 2 things that happen during telophase. All right, the first one is the nucleus splits here now, and you actually have 2 complete nuclei formed. All right, which is kind of crazy. You got 2 nuclei still in one cell. All right, but that's the one thing we wanted to make sure you knew. And the second thing is that the cell actually starts to stretch out. It used to be a nice round circle. Now it's getting oblong, and you can tell that it's starting to get close to being ready to divide. All right, there are a couple other things that happen that maybe aren't as important, but the chromosomes then start to unwind, and you don't see them as much anymore, and they start to disappear. So give us a picture of what you think telophase looks like.
All right, so I've got my 2 nucleus. Okay, they're kind of look like eyeballs here. There's one here and one here, and then this is the cell membrane starting to stretch. Okay, so there's going to be this line that splits these 2 in a second, but now they're kind of stretching, pulling apart. They've got their 2 nucleus, and these cells, or this one cell, wants to divide into 2. So it's starting to finish up this step of mitosis.
Remember, the T stands for 2 in PMAT.
Okay, learning target number 9, cytokinesis. Mr. Heisman, what is it?
I love that word, cytokinesis. It just is when, it's the final division. It's when the cell actually, it's stretched out in telophase. Now the cell membrane pinches off and 2 new daughter cells are formed. Cytokinesis, it's the final split in cell division.
All right. Thanks for watching. Done with videos.
Whoop, whoop.
Make sure you review for your test.